this video, we got the NBA player that thinks he's a star. Let's get into it. What they're talking about.
20 points a game for 2 straight seasons. It seems like no team wants him. That's because everyone seems
Cam
to
Thomas.
to how he
The fucking thumbnail. Duh. What the fuck?
plays.
I've been
except
told y'all
Cam
this, though.
Thomas himself. In a podcast episode where
He plays good for the first 2 weeks of the season. He dropped like 30, 40 points. Everybody be like, oh my gosh, he's the next upcoming superstar. Oh my gosh, he's making an all-star this year. Oh my gosh, upcoming MVP. Oh my gosh. And then after that, he just falls off for the rest of the season. Every single time. Every
Zach
time,
Lowe
bro.
had discussed how the league
Every time. It's a pattern.
is that he's an empty stats ball hog. Thomas responded saying, why are we double teaming a guy who's not that good? Make it make sense. So why is someone like this not a good player?
Bro.
And where does Cam Thomas misunderstand who he is? This is the NBA player who thinks
He's
a star.
occasionally a good
Cam
scorer.
Thomas has always been known for putting the ball in the basket. For the last 3 seasons, he has been the Nets' microwave scorer and could do something others couldn't, create his own shot off the dribble. This seems like a perfect fit with today's NBA. As teams have resorted to more isolation basketball, teams have pushed ball handlers to go find their own shots and tried very different
Jared
ways to
Allen up
create
in the
space
sky.
to make these shots
Damn.
more efficient.
Woo.
And with someone like Cam Thomas, who loves finding his own shots, it seems like plenty of teams would at least take a chance at him, especially when
I
he
do
was
like Cam
released by the
Thomas's
Nets.
bag, though.
And that's
Like,
where
he
the
really do got a nasty bag.
would at least take a chance
He
at
really
him,
do.
especially when he
Oh
was
my
released
God.
by the Nets.
That stutter, like,
Seems
I
like
don't think
plenty of
y'all
teams would at
understand,
least
bro.
take
Like,
a chance at him, especially when he was released by the Nets. And that's where this discrepancy lies. While he views himself as an elite scorer, that's not exactly who he is. What makes someone an elite scorer is that they can get to wherever they want on the floor. SGA, while he does foul bait, is completely unstoppable because he seamlessly changes directions, so defenders have no idea where he's going to go. Nikola Jokic, while most known for his passing, has elite footwork in the post and amazing touch around the basket.
Bro, he
Even the
might-
Kalshi guy,
I ain't gonna say he got the best footwork of all time, because that's definitely Hakeem's trophy. But he like right behind Hakeem when it comes to footwork. He gotta be. He's got to be. I ain't never seen nobody that got a play style like Yoke and can just consistently score like he does, bro. Like, y'all see the shots he be putting up? It looks so dumb. Like, y'all already know, bro. Like, his shots obviously look dumb. But the way he could just finesse his way to create space with straight footwork in the post is just, yo,
despite not having
that's
a
a
jump
talent,
shot,
bro.
still gets wherever he wants because he's so quick and strong for his size. And that's not what Cam Thomas can do. He's a bit undersized as a 6'3" shooting guard.
See,
and
that
isn't
is straight
quick, so he
bag
doesn't have
work,
the physical
but he
attributes
missed
to
that.
beat NBA defenders off the dribble. And when you pair that with not the quickest handle, it becomes hard for him to create that space he needs. This is why he has to work extremely hard to just create a shot opportunity for himself. Here he's isoing Jabari Smith Jr. He tries to shake him with not 1 but 2 step backs, then has to power through him to get closer to the paint. And that's just to put up a lefty hook that doesn't go down. On this one, he's against Miles Bridges. He first goes to the step back, and when he can't create that space, he then drives baseline. And look at the angle that he's at,
That's a
which doesn't
terrible
give him
angle.
a good shot around the basket. Given his physical attributes and lack of a handle, Thomas is not a good shot creator.
Yeah.
His true shooting percentage has never been over 56%, which is pretty low even for a guard, and he ends up taking very tough shots,
Yeah.
which is why he's never going to be as efficient as other so-called
Yeah, I'm starting to see what it is. Like, just by these few highlights right here. Even though these are low lights. These aren't even highlights he's showing right now. But it's looking like he's not good at taking decent shots. It's looking like he shoots more bad shots than good shots.
taking
That's what
very
it's
tough
looking
shots,
like.
which is why he's never going to
But
be
like I
as
said, these are the
efficient
low
as
lights.
other
I don't know too
so-called
much
elite
about Cam
scorers.
Thomas. I just know this man, he becomes the best player in the NBA for like the first 2 weeks of the season, and then we never hear from him again.
If there's one thing I've learned, though, about Cam Thomas's game, it's that this man has confidence. And if there's one thing I could use that for, is for getting better at new things. I've been looking for a completely different game that still scratched
Bro,
that game
what is
itch
this,
without
PUBG?
eating up hours of my day, and Urban Heat is exactly that. It's a mobile first
Dude,
person shadows
no.
They offer unlocking
I'll stick the card, bro. I'll stick the card.
part about him is that there's actually a ton of potential for him to get easier shots, but this is where he gets in his own way. One of the most mind-boggling things is that he chooses to take these tough shots. He's running pick and roll here, and he's got a lane to the basket, especially against the slower Jock Landale, but he just backs up, allowing Gabe Vincent to get back in the play and chucks up a contested three. Later in the game, after a Hawks bucket, Thomas does a good job pushing up the floor, and they run a quick dribble handoff, which creates space for him to drive baseline. But he decides to slow it down and creates space off CJ, but then gets stripped. Here, after a Sixers miss, Thomas has a whole lot of space to attack, especially with Drummond and Oubre just jogging back. But because he is also jogging, Oubre and Drummond can get back in the play. Now that shot is unavailable, and he turns the ball over. Part of the issue is that I'm not sure if he can read the defense besides his own
He's just not a consistent scorer. Yeah, see, look at this, bro. He said terrible pass, man. Terrible.
When asked about what he can do a few weeks ago, he said that playmaking, drawing the defense on me, making the right plays. I feel like that's a part of my game that gets underrated just because I score the ball so well, and people don't really look at that. But the film might say something different. The thing that is most apparent is his slow processing speed. Yes, there are plays like these where he's thinking shot instead of a simple dump-off pass, but it's very easy to see the hesitation in these situations. Here he runs pick and roll with Sims, and there's 5 Knicks all looking at Thomas. So AJ Green cuts on the baseline.
I'm not sure. He said so. I mean, you know, NBA players, they kind of hype themselves up and lie all the time. But is Cam Thomas a consistent scorer? Like, is he like a scoring guard? Because every time I look at him, it's like he's not a consistent scorer.
To make, except he doesn't.
Then again, I don't really look at his game too often. So
on this pick and roll, the Nets set this one up beautifully. Thomas does a good job getting Batum off balance, so he now has a clear lane, and Igor Demon is moving to the corner with a screen from Noah Clowney, which opens up tons of options. But Thomas hesitates, and by the time he passes it, Chris Dunn has caught up, so there is no advantage. This is why he needs to stop using the pick and roll. While it's a way to create advantages, it also naturally creates more traffic, which requires him to read the defense much faster. And because he's not comfortable with handling double teams, it makes it hard for the offense to be productive. He'll even use the pick and roll just to help him reset, so it's a lot of wasted movement and valuable seconds gone.
Yeah. So what is making people think that he thinks he's a star?
More productive is when he plays.
Is it his confidence?
Because he doesn't need to dribble. He has a better chance of shaking his defender and even using a screen in the process to then create that space. But the problem is that he's very unwilling to be active off the ball, because in his mind, he's not a cutter or a spot-up shooter. He's a shot creator. And that's exactly the problem.
I'm not even about to replay that.
Here the Nets are running a dribble handoff, but Michael Porter sets a great back screen for Thomas. Instead of curling to the basket, though, Thomas just lingers to the corner before realizing that he should have cut. By that time, though, he's not open, so Claxton then moves on to the next action, and Porter Jr. has to take a tough mid-range shot.
Oh.
On this one, the dribble handoff is set up for Thomas, and he creates the space he needs. But instead of just cutting all the way to the basket, he's looking for the ball on the wing. He's not open, and now Claxton has to try shooting himself. And part of this is just not understanding where he can find easier scoring opportunities. He runs pick and roll and has a one-on-one with Brook Lopez, but he backs it up to try and isolate his original defender. Now with Lopez dropped back, if he handed this off to Claxton and runs a dribble handoff, there's probably a wide open 3, but he pivots to a tough step back jumper.
That's not good, bro.
If he chose to figure out where his opportunities
a lot of bad
lay
shot
off
selections
the ball,
here.
He would actually be much more efficient. But he's often just hanging out, not being a threat when someone else has the ball. And after this particular possession where he was at half court, Jordi Fernandez decided to bench him in the process. This is mostly why teams don't want him. While he can make tough shots, for that to be your biggest strength doesn't benefit any teams. And it's the nail in the coffin when he doesn't think he has to improve.
Cam!
When Steve Nash pushed him to be a better playmaker, he simply replied with, "It is what it is." And it's this refusal to adjust his game which has gotten him to where he is today. The reality is that for him to be at his best, he has to simplify his game into two reads: either shoot the basketball or make the simple pass. When he's running dribble handoffs, he's very comfortable passing it to the big man when there is an opportunity. But because he thinks very highly of himself as an on-ball creator, Thomas has effectively limited his game and his role has continued to diminish. Even on a Milwaukee squad that is desperate for scoring, he has only played more than 20 minutes twice, and the Bucks have had him playing off the ball even more than his time in Brooklyn. As a result, Cam Thomas, despite being a capable scorer, is barely making an impact on a team that is already in a downward spiral. And it's because everyone knows who he is as a player, except for Cam Thomas.
I already told you how
So,
I feel.
hope you guys
He's not a
enjoyed.
consistent scorer, bro. That's literally what it is. And he takes a lot of bad shot selections, bro. Like he takes terrible shots. It's like he's definitely way better than like Dylan Brooks is when he was on the Grizzlies taking terrible shots like that. But that's just what it is, bro. That's what's keeping him from progressing as a player. That's the only thing. But I'm gonna catch y'all next.